What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country that you need to know about here on a daily basis, including money, investing, the stock market, the fourth stimulus package update, and stimulus check update. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, make sure to click the subscribe button down below. It's completely free to do so. I will keep you up to date here with everything going on here in our country. Also, thanks for hitting the like button for us down below. In this video, President Biden signs a major bill here. In fact, this week, absolutely a massive week here from Congress and the Supreme Court. Really two huge major life-changing issues that happened this week with gun safety and also Roe versus Wade. I mean, really, the whole United States is reeling here, good, bad, or I don't know if anybody's indifferent on these matters right now. Everybody is just kind of like, wow. But we got several different things here to update on. Check this out. As you can see here, President Biden signs the bipartisan gun safety bill into law. It is now official. It had some Republican support, including Republican leader of the Senate, Mitch McConnell, and also led by Republican Senator from Texas, John Cornyn, who led the negotiations for the Republican side. Significant from Texas because that is where Uvalde school shooting happened, and does send a message there from Texas. You know, Ted Cruz from Texas wanted no part of anything. He gets big sponsorships from the NRA. He wasn't gonna vote for anything for any type of gun safety anywhere. But John Cornyn, Senator Mitch McConnell, and 15 Republican senators voted yes for it, and it passed in the House. And now President Biden has signed it into law. Now, they're saying that this is the most wide-ranging gun safety prevention bill that Congress has passed in nearly 30 years. That's because there's hasn't been hardly any gun safety bills passed in 30 years. There's been very few, very few. And this comes almost a month after it cleared, a month after the shootings in Uvalde, Texas. President Biden said, quote, "Time is of the essence. Lives will be saved," adding that when he returns from trips from Europe, he will host lawmakers who worked from the legislation and family members of the gun violence victims at the White House. President Biden said, "Today we say more than enough. We said more than enough. It's time when it seems impossible to get anything done in Washington. We are doing something consequential." He said, "I know there's much more work to do. I'm never going to give up." Biden, who said today is a monumental day, thanks leaders in Congress who got the bill done across the finish line, and thanked families of the victims who the president and the first lady have met with, saying, quote, "I've been at this work for a long time, and I know how hard it is, and I know what it takes to get this done." The bill, known as the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, enhances background checks, but only for gun purchasers between the ages of 18 to 21. So it does not do anything for anybody who purchases a gun above the age of 21 in those regards. It makes obtaining firearms through straw purchase or trafficking makes a federal offense, and clarifies the definition of a federal licensed firearm dealer. This is because, I'll show you this here. You can see here, while federal law requires background checks for all gun sales by licensed gun dealers, it does not require background checks for guns sold by unlicensed sellers like non-dealers who sell guns online or at gun shows. which is a massive, massive loophole. So basically, there's a lot here that goes. I'll zoom this in here for you so you can kind of see this here. But this is a big loophole that a lot of people would like to see changed. It allocates $750 million to help states administer red flag laws, which helps to keep guns away from people that are deemed a threat to themselves or others, and other intervention programs through a court system. However, it will also include funding for mental health treatment. But because states are going to be able to set this up, we'll have to see here. But I have a feeling that the more red states, the more Republican states will. I have a feeling that some states might not set them up at all. We'll have to see. Texas, we'll have to see what Texas will do, because Texas is where Uvalde happened, but Texas is very gun rights. We'll have to see. Let me know your thoughts if you're from Texas. We'll have to see, because Texas is kind of like very, very gun rights. I totally get it, but there's also a lot of people that Uvalde hit home for a lot of people. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. But I think a lot of red states, are not going to, might not even set up the red flag laws at all. That's basically where, if a court, you go through a court ruling, and if a judge decides that somebody's a threat to other people or themselves, that they could shoot somebody, that then they could have their gun taken away, which is a whole entire process. You got to kind of think about going through that whole process. Without that, there's very little, if no ways at all, to have a gun taken away. It really depends on the state. Each state would be different. But the only other way would be like going to jail or going to prison. I mean, if you're in jail, you're in prison, you obviously don't have your gun. But we'll see. So this law is passed. This is the major highlights. There's also, it closes the boyfriend loophole. Biden says, while this bill doesn't do everything I want, it doesn't ban any assault style rifles. It doesn't ban any high capacity magazines. It doesn't ban any thing like that. It does include actions I've long called for. Doesn't have. It is going to save lives. The president's bill signing comes just an hour before he's set to leave the White House for the Group of Seven summit in Germany. People said, for God's sake, just do something. Well, today we did. I personally think, I actually got a lot of good feedback on this. I personally think there should be a small waiting period, like a 7-day waiting period. I actually got a lot of good comments, a lot of good feedback on that. A lot of people say, if you're a law-abiding citizen and you're not buying a gun to do anything, like shoot somebody with, that if there was a 7-day waiting period, that nobody should have a problem with that. Let me know your thoughts here on that. What that would do is that could weed out some of the actual murders and stuff like that, because I mean, let's be realistic. A lot of people, they're really mad at their boyfriend or their girlfriend, or somebody who's cheating on their boyfriend or girlfriend or something like that. And what do? They go and buy a gun, and that's that, right? If there's a 7-day waiting period, it could weed out 25% of those, 50% of those. It could cut down on those. And again, we know that this isn't going to stop all of them. We know that this law is not going to stop all shootings. But remember that we have more mass shootings. Remember, we have more mass shootings than days of the year in the United States. And that's just mass shootings. Mass shootings are where 4 or more people get shot or killed, not even including the shooter. So that's 4 or more people. Imagine how many shootings there are counting 3 or less people, or 2 or less people, or just one person. Literally hundreds and hundreds. I mean, they literally happen every single day, multiple times per day. So let me know your thoughts on this. Do you think it's enough? Do you think it's too little? Even we had people like Senator Joe Manchin say that if you're a law-abiding citizen, that you should have no problem with this. They're not going to take your guns away, anything along the lines of this. And he calls himself an avid shooter. You let me know your thoughts here in the comments. Well, meanwhile, on the other side of the um, battlefield, Russia, you can see right here, it's just kind of Russia to supply nuclear capable missiles to Belarus. Yeah. So you gotta kind of wonder why they would be doing this. Why would they be doing this? And get this. You can see here, Ukraine accuses Russia of bringing Belarus into war after missile launches from northern neighbor Belarus. Yeah, you can see here, Ukraine says that Russia um, is bringing Belarus in the war because Belarus fired missiles at Ukraine. Yeah. And you can see here, Kiev, however you want to say it, accused Russia of officially dragging Minsk into the war after missiles were fired at Ukraine from within Belarus's borders. The main agency of the defensive ministry said a mass rocket bomb strike was launched after 12 cruise missiles were fired from 6 planes at Ukraine from Belarus. And you can also see here the Top Gun Ukrainian pilots pushed the U.S. for jets. Senators say lawmakers will press the case with the White House, which means more money from the U.S. Yeah. Yeah, and remember that you can see here Russia relied on Belarus in the lead up to the invasions and to take Kyiv as its base for its troops to resupply and group. And they had troops in Belarus and sent troops through there. So, yeah, and now missiles have been fired from Belarusian territory, which they don't need to do that, but they chose to do that. Yeah, the agency said missiles were fired using a Tu-22M3 warplanes, which are long-range supersonic jet bombers developed by Russia and first used during its war in Afghanistan in the 1980s. Yeah, according to the intelligence data, the bombers took off from the Shaykova air base, roughly 190 miles south of Moscow. Russia forces then entered Belarusian airspace and fired upon Ukrainian targets roughly 30 miles from the Belarusian border before returning to Russia. Yeah, and you can see here, the intelligence agency said, quote, today's shelling is directly related to the efforts of the Kremlin authorities to drag Belarus into the war in Ukraine as a direct participant. Yeah, so, and then you can see this headline here, Russia to supply nuclear capable missiles to Belarus. Question is why? Why do they want to do this? What are they planning here? Yeah, Russian President Putin said on Saturday that they will transfer nuclear capable Iskander M missile systems to Belarus over the coming months. They said this publicly. They said this at a meeting in St. Petersburg that the missile systems can use both ballistic and cruise missiles, both in conventional and nuclear versions. In a transcript of the meeting, Lukashenko expressed to Putin his stress over what he alleges are flights by United States and NATO planes, quote, training to carry nuclear warheads close to the Belarus border. Lukashenko is the president of Belarus. So he's saying that he's alleging that the United States and NATO planes are training to carry nuclear warheads close to the Belarus border. He asked Putin to consider a mirrored response to the flights or to convert Russian fighter jets, which are currently deployed to Belarus, to carry nuclear warheads as well. Putin replied that, quote, there is no need to match the U.S. flights, and suggested Belarus could modify its own Su-25 aircraft to be nuclear capable instead. Quote, this modernization should be carried out at aircraft factories in Russia, but we agree with you on how to do this and accordingly start training the flight crew now. This comes as the G7 meeting will start here on Monday, and the war on Ukraine and Russia will be front and center. Does it feel like World War III is inching closer and closer? You let me know your thought. Does it feel like a nuclear war is inching closer and closer, or is this just rhetoric? Is this just idle threats? Do you think this is a possibility? Do you think this could happen? Where do you see ourselves a year from now? Do you think the Russian-Ukraine war will be over? Do you think it will still be going? Do you think we'll be in the thick of it? Do you think we'll be in World War III? Do you think nuclear warheads will be deployed? Do you think a nuclear bomb will have been used? You think it wasn't that long ago where Nagasaki and Hiroshima nukes were used? Not even a lifetime ago. Are we going to have that again? Remember that Russia has thousands of them. The United States has thousands of them. Other NATO countries have them. All it takes is one to be used, and the world is going to panic. Stock markets are going to crumble. Financial systems are, it's just going to be, remember, like over 50% of adults in the United States have money in the stock market with their 401ks, their pensions, their retirement accounts. And we don't want to see an exchange of nukes back and forth. It's not like we can nuke the entire Russia country. It's just, we don't want, I mean, they're going to fire back. It's not something that we don't, there's no winners in a nuclear war. And even if they use even if Russia drops one single nuke on Ukraine, it's going to be an absolute catastrophic event that I don't even know what that would lead to. So, and the news just continues to see like we're inching closer and closer, and we're going into 5 months of this war, and Putin and Russia are just not backing down. If anything, they're moving close. They're going full steam ahead. So let me know your thoughts. Where do you see us a year from now? It's interesting, and not in a good way. Like I've said several times before, there's going to be no winners out of this. And the longer it goes on, the longer inflation and gas prices and food prices and all this stuff stays high. It's not the full reason for this, but it is definitely one of the reasons. So make sure to subscribe down below. I'll keep you up to date here. It's completely free to subscribe. After you click the subscribe button, click the bell icon next to it so you get notifications when we go live, which is every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so you don't miss out on new videos. I will keep you up to date here. And here is my new video on $600 stimulus checks and others that are going out now. And here's my new video on student loan forgiveness. Really big video there. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video.